Welcome. Thank you for joining me today with my FlossTube 20. My name is Shelly, and this is a YouTube channel all about cross stitch. I have a feeling it is going to be a long one, so grab your drink, grab your stitching, and hopefully you'll stitch along as I blather on about my topics and I show you my works and my projects. Today I am drinking an exotic blend of H2O and H2O. I traveled all the way to the refrigerator to grab some ice, and I also grabbed the water straight from the faucet. So no expense is spared on my channel. My voice might be a little tighter today because I'm drinking cold, but I didn't want, my mouth is tired. It's Thanksgiving weekend. I've had all flavors going through it, and while I'm thirsty and I need something to drink, I need to cleanse my palate. And I've been brushing my teeth and nothing sounds good. And so water it is. To all my friends that celebrate Thanksgiving in the United States or abroad, I hope you had a wonderful visit with family and friends. I'm sure that Thanksgiving might have been different from years in the past, but we're making sacrifices so that we can conquer this disease and stop the spread of it. In my parents' house, I celebrate with my parents. I live alone. My mom cooked the turkey, and I made the pie and the deviled eggs. She made the turkey, the stuffing, and the mashed potatoes, and I asked for salad. For me, salad is a guilty pleasure because I have an autoimmune disease and my body doesn't process roughage and vegetables, so I only get to eat them rarely. So she always makes a really great salad for me, and I just appreciate it beyond anything. So we spent the day together, and that was nice. Usually my uncle and his two adult children and his wife comes. Um, she is his second wife. I do consider her family, but um, she's not my aunt. She technically she is, but I love her nonetheless. And I don't think labels are really important when love is involved. If you love someone, it doesn't matter if the person's friend or family. To me, love is love. And the more love we can spread, the better our world will be. And so I'll leave it at that. So Friday, of course, is Black Friday. I think a lot of shops were closed, which is good. I did want to watch the news to see what was happening in other parts of the country, but I didn't see crowds and mobs, which is good. Most people are taking coronavirus seriously. For those of you that don't celebrate American Thanksgiving, I hope you had a nice weekend. I hope you were able to stitch and be with loved ones as well. I want to move on. I'm in a challenge group, and it's called Monthly Magazine Challenge Cross Stitch. Zook Stitch, Caroline, and Robyn Hall, Bird's Eye Stitcher, they moderate the group, and each month we choose a pattern out of the magazine and we stitch it. And it doesn't matter which magazine you choose your pattern from. They also have an acrostic, and the acrostic, I don't really participate. I did 1 month, and that was the first month, September. I chose Fall Teapot, and if you don't know what that looks like, I'll show it in a minute. And then October, I did a Halloween by Misty Pursel, Luminous Fiberarts, and that was a start and a finish. And then I skipped November, which was, it would have been a small card, something to be thankful for. Well, once a month, the group gets together on Zoom and we have a planning session. And what I talked about, I'm trying to open my tablet. What I mentioned was the app Readly. And Readly is a website that allows you for $10 a month to read as many issues of magazines as you want for $10 a month. You don't own the magazines, of course, but I've downloaded knitting. Uh-oh, I can't do it backwards. I've downloaded knitting. I'll move it up while I'm here. These are just all the magazines I have downloaded so far. You can see The World of Cross Stitch, Stitcher, here's just cross stitch, punto crochet. I don't care what language cross stitch is in. I can figure out the patterns. And these are all separate magazines. These are not the same. And when you look and this is an older one here. There are a few patterns, but what you do when you open is these are all the back issues that you get to view and look at. So for $10 a month, this is completely worth it because The World of Cross Stitch, which is a monthly magazine, is $13 a month. Well, my subscription ran out. And even before my subscription ran out, I told myself, Shelley, you've been cross stitching a year and you have a huge stack of magazines. If you keep up with all these magazines, you are not going to have room in your life. My condo is very tiny. I've told you that. I know. And so for me, the most logical step was to get Readly. And I will put a link below, and that link will give you 30-day free trial. Could you go to readly.com and get it as well? Yeah, you could. But if you use my link, I will also get a free month. And free is my favorite word. I don't know about you. But the group didn't know about it. So I was telling them about it. And if you remember last video, which would be November, I was talking about buying a whole bunch of sugar stitch patterns because I really wanted a Shannon Christine pattern. And in that search for Shannon Christine, I stumbled across sugar stitches. And I'm going to open this, but I wanted to stitch Gingerbread Lighthouse, Shannon Christine, and it's on her website. Well, guess what? This is the picture I showed you last month. And it's in the World of Cross Stitch, December or Christmas 2017. And I was flipping through in the group on Zoom, just looking for patterns that I would like to do. And I'm like, wait a minute. I never bought that. And now I don't need to buy it. So I highly recommend Readly. But again, I didn't get it until my subscription of World of Cross Stitch ran out. And I'm saving money and getting so much more. And I'm saving the environment and my square footage in the house by having everything here. Now, can I print the patterns? I don't know. But I can expand them and make them smaller. And if you know that you can print the patterns, I would love to know. The pattern is on Shannon Christine's website at shannonchristine.com. And oh my goodness, I saw her 15 Christmas ornaments stitched. They are stunning. And now it makes me feel sad that I didn't get her patterns. And I thought about it because I do love Shannon Christine. All right. So I want to talk about Alma. And Alma's YouTube name is Alma's Little Wonders. Alma is wonderful. If you don't follow her, I highly recommend it. She's in challenge groups and she stitches like a crazy lady. Alma, I'm sorry, I know you're not crazy, and she's stitching. And there is one pattern that I'm absolutely in love with, which is Bilbo in a doorway. And the colors are stunning. I'm not going to stitch it. I don't think I'd ever get to it. But what did Alma do? What did Alma do? She sent me to that FlossTube, no, not FlossTube, that Etsy designer. And guess what I bought? But the great thing is Black Friday. And I bought this stunning pattern. I've wanted an Alice in Wonderland pattern. And this is just beautiful. $3.50 at the most. Come on. This for $3.50? Hello. Now, I do have to say it's 120 DMC colors. I can afford the DMC colors, but 120 colors. It is, here we go, 347 by 436. Yikes. But it will go on my WIPGO board, and I'll talk more about my WIPGO board in the next update on this YouTube 20. All right. So where can you find this pattern and other fabulous patterns? Because regular price, it's $6.75. That's less money than a Hade. And I love Hade as well. This is by Zanna Cross Stitch. Alma, thank you for sending me there. Zanna Cross Stitch has so many fabulous patterns. So if you are a fan of Hade, you might want to take a look and see what full coverage pieces she has. I do recommend, and I look forward to starting this one. I really do. It'll take me a while to get the floss, but I don't have to get it all at once. And I figure that I may do 2/1 because I have some gridded 20 count magic guide fabric. I think I'll stitch it in 10 stitch 2/1. I want to try that. And I'm also thinking of restarting one of my Hades, which I only worked on for 2 or 3 days, so there's not a lot there. I'm also thinking of doing that 2/1 tint because Needlecraft Danny, she's in Germany, fabulous stitcher, and all of her stitching is tint stitch. So why do the full cross on these mammoth projects? Now, I do the full cross on smaller projects, of course, but on these massive projects that I want to finish, do I really need to stitch the entire cross to get the effect that I want? I don't think that I do. So maybe I will start the Alice in Wonderland and go for a little bit and decide if I'll switch my Haid. And I have two Haids going right now. They're both Randall Spanglers, and I haven't touched either of them in a year. I also have the Harry Potter book covers, and those I'm doing full cross. I'm not going back to restart that because I've got a good chunk of work done on those. So Alma, thank you so much for that Black Friday tip. Just what I needed. The other thing that Alma was talking about was a pattern that she was given, and I think it was this one. Alma, was it this one or a different color? I forgot. Well, I didn't forget. I had all four of these, and I loved them, but they were sitting in my closet, and I'll show you why they were sitting in my closet. They're on printed fabric. And I'm like, really? Really? Apparently, yeah, it'll come off, but and I'm not a fabric snob. I'm really not. I think I'm kind of a floss snob because I don't use anything other than overdyed or DMC, but Alma is so excited to stitch them on a different fabric. And I thought, oh, Alma, you're genius. Because I never thought to use this on, use another fabric. So that's what I'll do. So I showed you the green one, which again, this is the one I think Alma's doing. And Stitch and Mommy was sent one as well as a gift. And Stitch and Mommy is going to do one. But I love these trees. If I had to pick a least favorite, it might be this one. But, I'm not going to stitch all four of them. I'll probably stitch this gorgeous blue. I really don't stitch anything in blue. And I love this purple. Oh, but not only do I love the blue, did you notice all the snowflakes? So I'll probably stitch these two. Why don't I do a giveaway? And if you want this pattern, use the word tree in the comment and just say something about a tree. I'm not going to send the fabric unless you ask for it, but I will send you the pattern. If you want this pattern, go ahead and put trees. And if you do want the fabric, tell me, and I'll send you the printed on fabric. I don't have a use for it because I don't want to cross stitch over the print, even though the print is supposed to dissolve and go away. So, if I had to choose one to start, I'm going to go with blue. So, Alma, you were asking which one. I'm going to start this one. Great. So, I keep looking at my notes. I know you don't mind because I've told you before, if it's not written down, I'll forget it. I've gotten through a lot of what I've wanted to complete with you. So I got a lot done during this weekend. I had Wednesday through today off. And what I decided to do, I had a lot of fabric cut out for project bags, and I decided that I was going to make them. So the first and I made duplicates of all but two. The first project bag in my list is this one, and this is the back of it. And I made this one for Robyn Hall, who is a moderator or admin of the Cross Stitch monthly magazine Cross Stitch group. And I put, for the people that I give to, I put my little marker here, my maker tag. But for mine, I put it, I'm not going to forget I made it, but I still put my maker tag down here. Do you have a preference? I mean, I don't know. Does it matter? I do like, and I mentioned this before, I do really like putting my maker's mark on there so people can remember. Now, I had this fabric, and I was thinking about using it for the February bag giveaway on the monthly challenge group. And Pam of Just Keep Stitching, I saw this fabric and I thought, oh my goodness, she would love this bag with the Declaration of Independence, We the People. It says that on the back. And so I grabbed the front and I made two bags. Mine is a little bit smaller than Pam's, but I'm okay with that. And I do like the accent, the brown accent of the zipper. That's a nice add. All right, now these are slightly different. This is my bag, and I'll tell you why in a minute. And this is the giveaway bag. Because this person's favorite color is blue, and Robyn's favorite is birds, so I put the birds on the outside. And since this person's favorite color is blue, I put blue on the outside, but I also have the Christmas on the inside. What I've noticed about my seamstress skills is if you hold it back, just like a cross stitch, the farther back you are, the better they look. I'm not a professional, and I don't think anyone that's receiving these bags expect me to be a professional. And then my ornaments are on the back. This is last year. I won a drawing for Joyful Teddy, which is, you've seen it before. I'll put a picture here. You know, I lifted the right hand, the correct hand, and then I switched at the last minute. But I'll put a picture here of Joyful Teddy. And I won that in a drawing on Half Stitch Cross Stitch, which is Dina. And her favorite thing to cross stitch is Christmas. And her birthday is in December. And so I made her this bag. And I actually have Cupcake Needle Minder that she'll get with this. I absolutely love this bag. Nice. That pop of green for the zipper. And then my zipper has like red for a red bow. But then everything's the same. See, just hold it back it looks better the farther back I go. So I'm happy with them. And then for January, I always give the bag away the month before when the new challenge is released. And so if you want to win one of the bags, just go to the challenge group, and hopefully you're there for the challenge as well. But I always try to put it up the weekend the new challenge is released, which is on the 1st. And the 1st is for January is New Year. Well, okay. This is an innocuous bag, black and white. I couldn't find it. Oops. I'll trim that. I couldn't find anything. No celebratory anything. But I love this moon. And the closest I could get was this constellations. And I thought zodiac. And so New Year zodiac. So hopefully they like it. And if they don't like it, they don't have to put their name in to win it. And then I do have one more cut out, but I think I'm going to look for a different fabric. I have a stockpile. I may choose a different fabric for myself. But then I also had 2 Halloween patterns cut out, and I made one. Now, isn't this orange fabulous? I can't be any happier with the choice of orange. That's stunning. And the first fabric I had chosen was this. And I just didn't, yeah, it would have fit, but I didn't really like them. But this, wow. And on the back, skulls and bottles and spiders and bats. And what I realized is this fabric is probably directional, and I could have cut it better. But you know what? I don't really care. If I could go back and fix it, would I? Yeah. Am I throwing this away? No. Am I giving this away? No. I love it. If there's a need, I can make another one. And because I do have the material cut out for another one. And, hold on. And, I'm going to go ahead and pause. So I didn't pick up one of my projects. So I'll go ahead and pause. And I have to edit anyway, so it's not a big deal. I didn't go far, apparently. I'm sorry I didn't iron this because I ironed my other projects today. But the reason I'm going out of order with this whip is because this whip, Dangerously Delicious Poison Apples, this whip is going in this bag perfectly. Maybe that'll be a screen capture. And let me go ahead and show you the pattern. It's going to be a quick stitch. How do I know it's going to be a quick stitch? I used my wonderful project tracker from S. Ward, right there, S. Ward Designs. And we all have seen this on many channels. But look, I've only worked on it 2 days. And I love the colors of it. Just make sure. Love. So the reason I paused was now I can throw this all, including my floss, which is not a ton at all, It's all going straight into my new project bag. I love it that much. And isn't that what project bags are for? On this pattern, I've been stitching it in hand, and I love it. I want to be more in hand stitching, and it's not that I have an aversion to hoops, but I want to also be able to pick something up, and if I don't have a hoop readily available, I want to be able to stitch. What makes that project easy to stitch with is that it's on a really stiff 16 count black Aida. So that's awesome. All right. So I have 2 whips that I've been working on. As you can see, I have a lot that I've been doing. I'll put the picture of my fall teapot right here. And that's where I was. And this is where I'm at. I'm going to move this so it's right next to me. I love this pattern. I do. If you remember last time, oh, I'm holding it right where where the picture is. So if you remember last time, I was somewhere over here. I'm not looking at my previous picture, but I had to stop for the month of October because I couldn't focus enough. I'm not joking when I tell you this almost has the number of color changes of a Haid. Luckily, this is the last section of the pumpkin, and what you see here is the spout. All right, I think I'll be done if I continue on it the way I have been. I'll be done soon. Next year, 2021. I don't have a project tracker for this because it is a slightly older whip before I have the project trackers. I'm pretty sure I showed you this whip. It's a Marshmallow World. I'm so excited to be stitching on this, and I kind of fudged it. I'm going to show you a picture, so I'll move this to the other side. I have these 2 pictures. I'm going to put the pattern down because I want to have the 2 pictures side by side. And if you notice, well, actually I have the 1 picture. So if you notice, perhaps you can tell a difference between the top and the left-hand side. The top and the left-hand side. Because what I was doing was I was stitching 1/2 on 32 count, and it is, picture this plus, so for me it's almost like a 36 count, which I don't mind. And so I was looking at it and I kept saying, well, yeah, I like this. I really like this. And yeah, I'm going to keep going because I really like this. And then these are still the colors. They're so gorgeous. You know, this is why I put all my floss on a floss ring. That would make such a gorgeous candy cane, but it's going on my project. So I am working from the left to the right on this. And what happened was I realized, well, I'd put it down for a day or 2, and when I picked it up again, I grabbed 2 strands and I was stitching. I'm like, oh. And I sent that earlier picture with the side and the top. I sent that to 2 friends. And one friend said, no, I don't notice a difference. I said, doesn't the left look just a little bit brighter? And she's like, oh yeah, now that you mention it. And my other friend right away, well, the next morning she had a migraine. The next day she responded, oh yeah, the left side's brighter. And so those were 2 crazy. Those were 2 over 2. All the other stitches were 1 over 2. And what I decided to do was take a single strand and use that single strand in the same direction as my last stitch. And I am now stitching 3 over 2 because I didn't want to do another X. So I have 3 stitches over 2 instead of 4 stitches over 2. But I do like the coverage. I'm happy with it. This is 32 count opal gingerbread. Picture this plus. And all we can ask of ourselves and of each other is, does it make you happy? I was happy 1 over 1. I was happier 1 over 2. I was even happier with 2 over 2. And 3 over 2 is amazing as well. So that's a long story for a little bit of work. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, my project tracker. Yeah. 7 days. And that's all I have done. Of course, they weren't full day stitching, but now that I have the border situated, I'm going to be able to move through it more quickly. So that's all I have today for my whips. But the bags are FFOs, so I should celebrate the FFOs of the bags. I do have something to show you from my knitting, and I hope you don't mind that I show you. I'll show you maybe in the order that I did them. So I've been watching Carolyn off the Grid Needlearts, and she has a video series or a podcast series, Teach Ginger Gerald to Knit. She made it, I want to say almost 2 years ago, but she's left them on and I found them. So the first lesson is washcloth. So this is my first washcloth. And I posted it on Instagram and I said, woohoo, I'm a knitter. I'm a knitter. And then I promptly made number 2. And number 2 is so much better than number 1. But I'm always going to treasure number 1. Number 2, my gauge is more consistent. And that's why. And then the suggestion is to use cotton. And so I did pick up 2 things of cotton. It's just the 100% cotton at Joann's. This is a mixture of cotton. No, not even cotton. This is all maybe acrylic. Doesn't matter. It's what I grabbed while practicing. But, you can see I haven't weaved in my ends. But these can be washcloths or whatever. And I can block them if I want. But what I've just... If you ever watched my second video, eating crow with the side of humble pie, what I what I did was I apologized to the FlossTube world, thinking that I would whip out all these projects, because last month I thought, yeah, I'm a knitter. I can make my dad a blanket for Christmas. Sure, no problem. If that were the case, this is the blanket so far. And it is bunched up on the needles, of course, so that I get more, or I have more space and it's not stretched out. I enjoy working on this, but it will never be done for Christmas. What I have decided to do was make a small and give it to my friend Hunter. He's going to be 8 years old, and I don't know if he'll like it, but if he doesn't, it's great practice. And then I can start working on something for my dad. And the reason I wanted to make a blanket for my dad, I rolled this is a jumbo size from Joann's, like a double spool or something. But my dad's always cold. And for Father's Day, I gave him money to go buy something and he wouldn't take it. So I figured maybe I could make him a gift that he would appreciate. He certainly doesn't appreciate my cross stitch. He says it's a waste of time and money, but perhaps he'll appreciate a blanket to keep him warm. Now, then I found another floss tuber, and she, Denise, and I'll put her below, has a series of lessons on making socks. And the socks take a smaller needle, so I've been practicing 3 and 3. But what I realized while practicing, and this is about 2 or 3 days worth of work, because I only work on it maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours at a time, I cannot tell stitch from stitch with black. It would be like, what would it be like? It would be like stitching on black fabric with black floss. And so I went ahead and cut all the black out of the ball. And this is just a $1.99 a ball for $1.99 at Joann's for practice. And it is sock weight, and it has 3 colors. White, so 4. It has the black that I cut out, the white, light gray, medium gray. And so I cut out the black, I rolled the ball, center, pull, and I'm going to start practicing casting on and knitting the cuff, because Michelle Bendy, I hope you're watching, if she's busy, she probably doesn't watch me. She showed Sewlividyesyarn. She showed this Olivia yarn on her channel. And a lot of times people tell Michelle, oh, keep something and give the rest away. And I looked up and I gasped because I love the color and it feels so beautiful. But I gasped and I'm like, I'm going to enter that drawing. And then in her next breath, she's like, I'm keeping this. Sorry, not sorry. I'm like, good for you. And I emailed her and we talked a little bit. I'm going to use this to make a pair of socks for myself. And this is 100 grams. So 100 grams will make 2 socks. And I can get, and the colorway is Olivia. and it arrived really quickly. And I got a note from the person, the owner, that says, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what you make with the yarn. And so she does have an Instagram and Facebook. So I'll be posting updates and you'll be able to see that. But the other color I purchased, the other colorway, look at how gorgeous this is. Milky Way, 70% merino and 30% nylon, which is the best, the best combination, wool and nylon for socks. It's gorgeous, gorgeous. So Michelle Bendy Stitchy was talking about wanting to make socks as well. And so I'm going to be using Carolyn Off the Grid Needlearts, and I'm going to be using Denise. I've been watching them to get, just to watch, to get familiar with what they're doing to make the socks. Well, finally, before I sign off for today, but I will be back in this episode, episode 20, I do want to talk about my WIPGO board, and I'll talk about that once I have it filled out. If you like what I'm saying, if you want to help me build my channel, please hit like and subscribe. I know I have the like button here. The subscribe button is here, and like the channel. For now, I'll bid you adieu. For me, it'll be a week or two. For you, it'll be a couple seconds. Hi, FlossTube. I made it back. Today is December 12th. It is Saturday evening, about 6:30, and I wanted to jump on and film a second segment. First of all, I want to thank you for sticking with me, because I was sniffing throughout the first section like a Coke addict. And I swear I don't do Coke. I'm not sure what it was, but I was editing it and I couldn't believe how many times I sniffed. Did you count? I think you know I live in California and I have this big bulky sweater on because it's starting to get chilly. I am under a blanket on my lower half. I'm dressed. We're among friends, but still. And I'm freezing. I love the idea of winter, a white Christmas, all of that. But I think if push comes to shove, I would not be happy in snow for the long term. I suppose I could manage to get used to it, but I hope you're staying warm. I hope you have a warm beverage. You have your stitching. Maybe you took my break between the last clip and today to grab something to drink. And maybe you're splitting up this floss tube into multiple days, because it will be a little bit longer. So I have two favorite new things, and one is from EJ of Sunshine Stitcher fame, and Michelle Bendy Stitchy does her live floss tubes. They're Stitch With Me's typically on Thursday, and EJ was there, and she said when you park a thread, stitch the bottom leg, stitch the bottom, part of your X. And then when you go back, it's easier to see instead of having it just dangling out of one of your four holes. And Michelle and I and many others thought that was brilliant. So EJ, if you're watching, thank you so much. I don't think she is, but that is one of my favorite new things, because I do like to diagonal stitch and to park. My other favorite thing is from Steel City Stitchers, and they've been talking about tea drops. And I do like tea, but it has to be special. And when they mentioned that there was an apple pie spiced tea, I got online and I looked and I ordered 3 different flavors. Apple pie, so good. I ordered orange cinnamon roll. Wow. And then I ordered chai spice. And I tried the chai spice last because I thought I would like it the best. And the apple pie, amazing. The orange cinnamon roll, so good. The chai tastes like water. And it's chai spice. So I don't know what happened because it's flat. It is, I wouldn't buy it again. And then I was at World Plus, it's a store by my house, and they had tea drops. So you might go onto the tea drop website and see if they have any stores that stock it around your house. And they have a ginger citrus. That is far and beyond my favorite flavor. So it is decaf, but I like drinking tea in the evening. But who am I kidding? I drink iced tea from, it could be whenever I stop drinking coffee to the end of the day. So I'm good with hot tea or cold tea. But it's odd because I really like sweetener in my hot tea, but in my cold tea, I take it straight. And I don't like flavored cold tea. So those are my 2 favorite new things. And I can guarantee that the tea is fantastic, but it is a bit pricey. Also from Steel City Stitchers, they're talking about doing a sale on December 26th. So instead of going out and shopping or returning things, and why would you with COVID around? Don't go out. Why? But stay home and stitch on green fabric or with green floss. And you can join the holiday hangover sale that I believe it's hosted by the Steel City Stitchers. So there's something else to look forward to. The rest of the video, or the rest of my FlossTube, I want to discuss my plans for WIPGO. I do have my WIPGO board set up, and I'm going to put it right here. Boom. It should be there by now. Maybe I made it a little larger. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it on the screen, and that's fine because I can talk and you don't have to see my face. It happens on Zoom all the time. Now, I don't have a particular order except the order that I ironed my projects in. And so I am going to hold up some patterns that are on my WIPGO board. And I have this white board because it shows the patterns better. All right. So I did not take this out of the hoop because I have been working on it. This is Gingerbread Lighthouse by Shannon Christine. I'm stitching 1/2 on 36 count linen by Stitch Me. And this linen does not have a name. So I would also like to show you my first start of it. And really, this Stitch Me fabric is my favorite because on this 28 count, this is the 28 count, and this is hand dyed by Rolanda in the colorway Alma. I was going to do 1/1 on 28 count, but I feel that it's too small, and the design gets lost over here. And I think the design over here, you can see it much better. So that was something I was going to ask people about. Hey, what do you think? Should I do this or that? But when I started stitching, I could tell right away on my own that that was just what I needed to do. I needed to make the switch. All right. This is my second project, and it's a Marshmallow World by Sugar Stitches, and I'm stitching 1/2 with 32 count. But because it's a picture this plus, it actually feels like I'm stitching on a 36 count. And it is Crystal Gingerbread. I really do like it. That's as, it is square, and I'm done with this, and now I'm going down here, and I'm going down here. So I'm doing a good clip of that. Now, my next project I'm working on is a stitch along with Stacy at Stitching 911. This is Carolyn Manning, and it's Autumn Marigold. I'm stitching this 2/1 on 18 count historic green. Now, I was surprised to see when I opened it up, there is no color on the back. I'm just unsure of how that works out. This isn't the funnest stitch ever, but I think that's because I haven't got into it enough to say, wow, this is fun. I am stitching that in hand. I'm also going to be showing you pictures. Oh, I haven't been showing you the pictures, so I apologize. So this is, I'll go back a little bit, not too much, because I haven't gotten that far, but this is Sugar Stitches. It's a Marshmallow World. What I really like about the chart is you can take sections of it to create smalls. I really love this cocoa mug with the cupcake, and that would be a great ornament. So, all right, I apologize. I forgot to show the pictures of these projects, and I have them all set up for you over here on the side. If you saw something fall out, this is my project tracker by S. Ward, and you can find these on Etsy. They're awesome and amazing. And when I was going over my older projects before I had the card, I need to open the zipper a little bit more. I wished I'd had those trackers because I don't remember everything, and I ended up looking it up. And then this is the Carolyn Manning. Of course, I always go for the biggest one in the block, so I went with this one, and of course, that's where I'm at, and I already showed you that. So let's see if I can stick with showing you the pictures, because that would be great. The next project, I'm tossing my stuff. I'll pick it up when I'm done. I'm embarrassed to show you the top of this, only because I did one of those mistakes. There we go. I used the masking tape, and I know we shouldn't be doing this. This is Coffee Break by Design Works, and you can find this on Design Works. You can find this on Amazon, and I started this for my birthday sale in October 2019, and I thought I would do well with 1 cup a month. And as you can see, I'm completely done with 4. And then the mocha up in the upper, whoops, as I let go. The mocha here, I haven't finished the back stitch on. So I really want to work on this some more over the next year so that it's done by 2021. That's really my goal. And I do have a picture of that. If you give me a moment, I'm going to pop it up if you want to see it. Coffee break. Here we go. And this is what it will look like done. I am not the best at this, but there you go. This is by Krista Hamrick, and as you can see, the background isn't stitched like I did, and I warn everyone that I'm trying to stitch it like the original artwork. And the original artwork you can find on Etsy, and it actually, it's nice. I really do like it. And so I don't know why Design Work didn't leave the background. But what I would suggest, if you're going to do the background like I did, do a tint stitch. Because I didn't do a tint stitch, and I regret that, especially when I'm getting to the end of a line. All right, my next whip for the board, and I'll show you what I have done as soon as I can figure out how to hold it up so it's pretty even. One of these days I'll be so good at this I won't even have to think about it. This is So Many Books, So Little Time by Randall Spangler, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I am stitching on the diagonal, as you can see, and I am going to, from now on, use EJ's suggestion of stitching the bottom leg of the X and then parking it where I would go up to do the top leg of the X. This isn't even 1 page, and I probably haven't touched it for a year, so I'm not doing well there. I do have a picture for it, and if you give me a moment to fold, I did iron everything. I've been looking forward to sharing this information with you and getting my whip board ready. Here is So Many Books, So Little Time. I did buy the miniature. There we go. And if I move it, you'll be able to see that there is a dragon on top and a dragon at the bottom eating a cookie. I'm getting near the moon, and I'm excited about that. So why I stopped, I'm not quite sure. I just got buried in other projects. This one I have a pattern for, a hard copy. This is Greyfriars Sampler. I saw this on Cheryl McKinney's group on her video, and I instantly fell in love with it. I am stitching on the called for fabric and using the called for thread, and this is by Rosewood Manor. I started this in April of 2020, and I started this as a COVID start. And I also did that with one other chart, and I felt this desire to stitch something pretty. And I really liked the alphabet and the flowers. I've spent a lot of time on this project. and I would like to get this done sooner rather than later. I'm almost halfway done, and I'd like to say I loved every stitch, but I would say I've loved stitching 90% of it. And to me, this is gorgeous. I'm so happy with the way it's turning out. The fabric is Heartland 18 count, picture this plus, and I'm stitching 2/1. That's typically what I stitch when I stitch on the smaller counts. Now, the next project I have is linens. Ooh, let me toss that down there too. I should have put it back. I'm sure many of you have seen my next project, which is the linen and thread stitch along by Linen and Thread. Let me open it. They've done a mystery sample for quite a long time. Well, I would say 3 or 4 years, but they are doing one this year as well. I'm in the last half, but I did stop stitching because I was worried that my count might be off, and I wanted to wait till they were done with the patterns because they weren't putting them side by side. And what I mean by that is we might get this in the corner and something up here. And I was worried that if I stitched it that way at the end, it might look off or unbalanced. So I deliberately waited until the end. And now that I have all the patterns, which are free, I'm going to go back to Linen and Threads. I'm going to use some sulky to stitch where the outside border should sit. And that way I know that my final product, even if there are mistakes in counting on the inside, I know it'll not look wonky. This is 32 count Tyco, and my goal would be to finish it. I will be giving this to my best friend. Her name is Tony, and I'm going to fill in all of her, I was going to say female relatives, but I think I'm going to put in as many as I want, and it doesn't have to be female. I am using DMC, the variegated threads, and I think the next monochromatic I'm going to choose one color and one solid color. And I think I told you that's 32 count Tyco 1/1. I like stitching 1/1 on the 32 count. The next project I have, I can show you a picture, and you may have seen many people stitching the Harry Potter book covers. This is by FoxandTeacup. I'm just making sure of the name. Yes, FoxandTeacup on Etsy. And if you don't want it to have J.K. Rowling's name on it, you can request a copy with having her name off. And many people are doing that because of her stance against transgendered women. And I completely understand why people wouldn't want her name on it if they support LGBTQ communities. This is what I have done, and I have loved every stitch of this. I first saw it when Erin T. Martini was stitching it, and I just thought I really have to buy this for my godson. Actually, what I thought was, oh, I really want to stitch that, but I don't want it. And then I found out my godson, it's his favorite series. And I'm like, well, there you go. And I put them together. This is my Harry Potter bag, and I love it. I did have it lined. I didn't make this one, but I did have it lined with blue. Wow. I'm down to my last two. I struggle cutting material, and I either cut it too big or too small. The last whip that I have where I'm putting on the board that you saw, it's Autumn Magic on 20 count. You really can't tell. On 20 count gridded fabric, 2/1. So as you can see, I don't have a lot started. I started this when I found out the Haid convention was canceled for 2020, and I was just feeling really low and really sad, and I thought this would be a pick-me-up, and it was. But I'm thinking of restarting it tent stitch, but I won't, because what I'm going to keep going on this. What I realized is I have another project, and while it's full coverage, I'm going to stitch it 1/1. But this is what I mean when I went crazy. This is 20 count 20 count easy grid. I think I bought 2 yards from Haid, Heaven and Earth Designs, because both of my Haids are mini. So many books, so little time, which I showed you with the dragons. I showed you the Harry Potter. I do want to show you the gingerbread house, or the gingerbread lighthouse. I remember I didn't show that to you. This is on ShannonChristine.com, her website. I just think it's so pretty. And I'm starting in the bottom right-hand corner. I have quite a bit done of that. Let me open, if I can. There we go. Let me find my wish list. And this, oh, it already logged me out. So this will take just a moment. I can, yes. Oh. This Mini Autumn Magic. I love that house. And the more you look at it, the more you see. There are some fairies and just different objects on the spires. It's going to be a really nice stitch. And I just love Randall Spangler. He does some awesome work. Okay. So that was Autumn Magic, and that was the corner I showed you. I showed you Autumn Marigold, and what you'll notice on my WIPGO chart, I had many of them, or all but one of them, multiple times. But I do have a chart that I only work on for 24 hours of cross stitch, and I'm going to continue doing that in 2021. And this is Joyful Teddy. Her name is Eloise, and if you go back to my earlier introduction, I had a naming ceremony for her. This is all that I've worked on. during 24 hours of cross stitch. I finally showed the back instead of the front. She is full coverage, but then there's snowflakes and other partial, like the window frame. This is 20 count white silver Lugana, and I got it from Stitch Me, and I really think it sparkles much better than the crystal or the opalescence. So I do have her on one. I have her on for one time because I think I can get Eloise done in 2 or 3 24 hours of cross stitch. It's not like I'm going to race to try to get it done, but I've had her a year. I do want to get her done so I can get her framed. If you remember, after Jolly July, if I'm not done, I'll get it done then. I got, I think, 70-something hours in her during Jolly July, and I told everybody if I worked on it the next month, I could get it done. And then I put it away and didn't do anything. I think that is one of my problems, though. All right. Oh, let me go to Etsy. I know I want to show you my purchase again, even though you just saw it. And this is the Mad Hatter by Zanna Cross Stitch. You've already seen it this episode 20. I love everything about it, so I am looking forward to stitching it. I wanted to do the full coverage with one thread, but for me, I think 32 count needs 2 threads if you're doing 2 over 2. And I didn't want to do it on 20 count. So what I did was I went to 1, 2, 3 Stitch, and they had a 32 count Ada Easy Grid. And I bought that, and I'm going to do my project 1 over 1 full stitch on 32 count Easy Grid. And I'm looking forward to that. The last pattern I'm going to show you is one that I purchased but has not arrived. And it is from Sew to Stitch. My computer knocked me out. I thought about leaving it as a surprise, but I love these ladies. The ice cream ladies. I hope you can see that. But all of their funky hairdos, it's ice cream. Now, this pattern, Sew to Stitch Ice Cream Ladies, is on Amazon, and that's what you're viewing here. I bought my pattern from Sew to Stitch in Canada. It is a Korean company, and they have so many great patterns. This one was just unique, and I wanted to stitch something that I hadn't stitched before, something like nothing else. And I figured that one fit the bill. What I did was I took the hoop off to iron everything because I am a hoop person, and I also like the frames. And what I noticed is, no, when I ironed, the lines from the hoop didn't come out. But what I also noticed, for those of you scared to use a hoop for that reason, is that the folds didn't iron all the way out either. The Easy Grid you're supposed to wash to get rid of the lines. But if you're using DMC is color fast, and you can get it wet in that area and the lines will come out. Not the, I'm sorry, the lines for folding or the lines from the hoop. So I don't concern myself with that, but I do know a lot of people have concerns. And if it is a concern you have, I know you don't use the hoop. So my plans. I was going to do or create or knit a pair of socks on yarn that wasn't too precious because I wanted to practice. And the skein that I really want to make socks out of was $33. And I don't feel like I want to spend $33 for practice socks. And I didn't have to, but I stopped working on that. I did put the link down below for Denise, Earthtones girl, and the pattern I purchased from her with the free lesson on YouTube. And I will get back to that. But my dad has mild tremors, which is a step below Parkinson's, I suppose. And he had to have the stimulator that was in his brain taken out. So the doctor shaved his head, and he has, staples and everything. He's doing fine. That's not the concern. But what I thought would be great is if I could knit him a beanie to keep his head warm. And for that, I figured that is worth putting these socks aside for. Tomorrow is Sunday the 13th, and I'm going to cast on tonight because tomorrow I'll be at Kaiser. I have every 7 weeks I get an infusion, and luckily the infusion center is open 7 days a week, and I can go in, and I don't have to fight traffic. I don't have to leave work early, and for me, it's worth it to lose a Sunday to go in and do that and take care of myself. But since I'm casting on tonight, I'll be able to knit in the round tomorrow for the beanie while I'm at Kaiser. And then when I get home, I'm going to start working on the poison apple pattern that I showed earlier because it's the 13th and dark October stitching. It doesn't matter what you stitch and what you create. Always remember, though, that every FFO begins with a single stitch. Thank you for sticking with me. Bye.